Okay, there are three other CSST hosted servers, all used by agencies in the state of New Hampshire. Only two of those are actually, well, they're all three active, but only two actually host CSST applications, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. Again, remote desktop connection. The three servers are 192.168.4.34, 35, and 36. So same IP address, 192.168.4.34, 35, and 36. The connection, again, you're logging in as administrator. The password for all three of these, since they're actually owned by the state association in New Hampshire rather than by Miles Technologies, they are a different password. In other words, instead of the Snowmass that we use on the other three servers, here the password is Hampshire with funky spelling. Again, all lowercase, H @MPSH1 RE, and that will get you into all three. Now, when you log into these servers, this notepad text box comes up, which is an explanation of the way things used to work. So this actually is no longer applicable, and if I were to get ambitious, I suppose I could go revise the login text and get rid of this because it's not applicable. It doesn't come up for users either, but what it's telling you is that the data is all stored on the third server. In other words, there's 6 New Hampshire agencies. Initially, we had split those up between 4.34 and 4.36, with 4.35, the middle of the IP range, being a data server. And the data was stored in 3 separate folders, all mapped as the Z drive for purposes of access from the 2 CSST installed servers. That's no longer the case. The data has been moved to a data folder in each of those agencies' installed directories on their respective servers, and so there was also a login batch file for users that logged in and then actually did a netuse command to map that Z drive to the appropriate data folder for whichever agency they happen to belong to. None of that is any longer applicable. So those login batch files, although they still run and they still map the Z drive, don't have any particular use anymore. So I'm going to close this notepad. Again, here, if you bring up Windows Explorer with the desktop icon for my computer, you'll find in favorites that I have set up for the 3 agencies that are on this particular server, and in addition to that, access to the FTP server in the same manner as we do from our own internal servers. The 3 agencies that are on here: Tri-County Community Action Program, Stratford County Community Action, and Southwestern Community Services, all 3 of which are in the state of New Hampshire, all 3 installed on this particular server. And like every other, all of our other internal CSST hosted servers, going there, clicking the CSSTX, double clicking it to run it, will run that particular install of CSST. Otherwise, everything on these servers works in exactly the same way. TSAdmin, Task Manager, access to our FTP, the CSST FTP server, all of that's identical to what I had described before. I'm going to log out of this, log off, and log off. And I'm going to go to .35. .34 is identical. Well, okay, I'll change my mind and go there as well. Only for the purpose of showing, and we get the same login text file, which we can ignore. In my computer, under favorites, we have the additional 3 New Hampshire agencies on here, in addition to, again, the FTP access. So RCA is Rockingham Community Action, CAPBMC is a community action program of Belknap, Merrimack counties in New Hampshire, and SNHS is Southern New Hampshire Services. So those three agencies have installs of CSST on this server, and otherwise it's identical to all of to the other New Hampshire server, as well as to our own internal servers. Keeping in mind again the login is administrator, and the password is the Hampshire @MPSH1RE. The 4.35 New Hampshire server is still used for one purpose only, and so just so that you can see the data structure there, we'll log into that one, and again same password, @MPSH1RE, and I mistyped it, @MPSH1RE. This server, this is, I'm going to cancel this. This is the FileZilla, the FTP utility. Since these are since these servers, while they're hosted by us and they're in our server rack, they are actually owned by the association in New Hampshire, and so they, unlike our other CSST servers, the users actually have access to the admin rights and access to these servers for purposes of doing other things should they choose to do so. And they do have FTP access set up on this particular server, and the reason for that is that we have some command scripts, some scripts that run inside of CSST that will transfer data to and from this particular server using the FTP protocol. And it uses a file structure that's found on the C drive, of course, in this FTP folder. And you see within that FTP folder, there's a separate folder for each of the 6 New Hampshire agencies. Well, you can see them here as well as I can. Within those agencies, RCA is the one that uses this most extensively. Within those agency folders, within those agency, individual agency folders, then there's the subfolders for some of the processing that goes on in terms of its external export, external application export, data export, or import to and from CSST. And we'll make a separate videotape explaining those in somewhat more detail, but just be aware that this folder on this server, or this set of folders on this server right now, is the only one that's in active use. There is, if we go back up to the C drive, you'll see this shared data folder, which is the older. Clicking that, and again, we have a separate folder now for each of the agencies. And within those folders, you'll find the original or older or no longer used sets of CSST data. Again, that's not relevant. Those data folders are no longer in active use, and therefore not of any particular use to us for backup purposes.